Uh, 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 uh. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully I haven't messed this up yet. Let's see. Okay. I'm waiting for the ads to finish here on my other computer. This is dumb. So I can actually test to see if this works. Okay, okay, everybody can hear me? I can hear me.
I've been spending too much time with goblins. I hear them whispering to me. But every time I try to solve a problem, oh, there's just another goblin, alright. Just another goblin in my life.
Okay, did that work? Hopefully that worked. Hopefully I didn't mess up that.
Well, other than I have a echo, but that's my own.
Yeah, it seems to.
I can hear you on Twitch just fine.
Ease.
Alright. Alright, here we go. So I'd like to welcome everybody to Goblin Town. Yeah! The crowd goes wild.
Wow. Thought I had caffeine in my system.
Wish I had that energy right now.
I know, right?
Okay.
Share whatever you're on, sir.
A little bit of jasmine tea, actually, but whatever. um, Alright, so here we are, Goblin Town for ArchaeoGaming Con 2021. Normally play 3 hours, but this time we're allotted 2 hours, so my general plan is just to play, or at least to give the audience a taste of what we do over the course of the first hour, and then from there we will move on to some discussion. Oh, let me do.
Hey, Daryl?
Yeah.
You should probably look at the Twitch.
Hmm?
Oh, nope, never mind, it went away. It's like you had an overlay on an overlay.
No, because I messed up because I was trying to do the overlay for the different scenery. I just turned it off, so we're good now.
We are.
Okay, cool. In the middle, I might do like a 1 minute break, 2 minute break to like redo the overlay. But okay, all right, cool.
You're on a boat.
Are we on a boat? I didn't know that.
Like a boat.
All right, so let me review from last time. So 2 weeks ago? We did a dig into Goblin Town. So it wasn't quite a play like a regular PlayStation. So the last session where we played as the characters was about a month ago. And so let me review, give a quick summary. So Fred and Moo's crews had run off. The party was absolutely flabbergasted at the developments. Why did Fred run off with Moo's crews?
Were they blue?
Green. The party then began to explore the ruins a little bit more. They realized that the chamber that they were currently in, where they had discovered the dinosaur, actually led into the outside. Part of it had been collapsed. They turned back around and followed after the path that Moo and their party and Fred had taken. They had found several old chests broken open, their contents spilled onto the floor, several coins just laying about. And there was a strange column that tipped over among the chests. They discovered it was a mimic. They chased the mimic, killed the mimic, because that's what parties do. When they finally found themselves outside, they had realized that Moo and the rest of them had completely, escaped, ran away, packed up, vamoosed, skedaddled. They then turned back to the ruins to explore them further. They found a locked chamber, forced it open, and discovered wondrous treasures inside. Despite the warning above it that death would come on swift wings. Just kidding, I'm retconning that last one.
It's kind of slow wings.
Inside, okay, I'm gonna start to pull up some of the art. Okay, let's see, which window am I supposed to be in? Okay. Let's see, did I... Okay, so they discovered some artifacts inside. So they had discovered these artifacts inside. This one on the two circles are actually one. It's the front and the back. And they had also discovered an interesting box. Yes. Let me see here. Where's that box? This box was just begging to be touched.
Literally?
That
Touch me!
was me in the chat. So the party was now discussing what form of action they should take, trying to discover what the purpose or the significance of all these artifacts or this room at all. So
who's gonna touch it?
Oh, you haven't touched the box yet. Okay.
no. Dagmar did
Maybe
lift
Sean
the
is
lid.
trying.
Also,
I did.
that counts as touching. Unless you used a stick, I guess.
She used her sword.
I used a sword.
I see what you did there.
Another use for that.
I love that there's just this naked-esque goblin icon to show you the size of the box. Y'all are the ones that invited me here. I don't know why you did.
We definitely need you for later. You gotta help us dig through this.
Literally or figuratively?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Alright, so I give the floor out to the players. Go ahead and discuss or ask questions to sort of refresh yourselves what exactly is happening.
I'm still sort of peeking inside and taking a look. A lot of really cool objects, but what does the room actually look like? Is it more of the rock carved kind of thing that we saw elsewhere, or is it different? Is there anything interesting about the walls, or?
Okay, so the walls now, interestingly enough, look like they're covered in a different material. It's no longer rock. You're not quite sure. Is it painted on? Is it plastered on? Is it what's it when you put metal on something? Embossed? No, can't remember.
Plated.
Plated. There you go.
Gilded?
Well, I think plated is the best one I'm thinking of. So the walls are no longer just stone.
How's Bam Bam doing?
Well, let's go back to Bam Bam. Bam Bam cannot fit inside the room.
Wasn't
he out with Janera?
To touch the box.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
There's meat in there.
Which one,
Uh,
Bam?
we've already established
There's
that
not.
there's blood in there, dried blood, so not so far off.
There's death in that box.
Yeah.
I still want to take it though.
Do it. I dare you.
No. In theory, will resist the urge to pocket it.
Oh, we have a suggestion for you, Anna. Who is Bam Bam?
Who is Bam Bam?
Yeah.
Oh, why has it gotta be me?
Because he's your pet. You named
oh.
him.
Temporarily. This is my Bam Bam. He's soft and cuddly. He's mine for the next 24 hours, courtesy of Gretel, and I love him. That is all you need to know, but he's very, very hungry, and I don't know what to do about that. So I'm thinking about just feeding him Fred, but I have to find Fred first.
What happened? Wait, I thought we liked Fred.
No, we don't. We don't like Fred anymore.
I'm debating whether we should have him eat Fred or just eat what was the name of his chicken again? Francine.
I
Gail!
think
Gail,
Francine
yeah.
would have been
Have
good.
him eat Gail as a warning.
Aw.
Wow,
Poor
That'd be
Gail.
No, we need
vindictive.
Gail.
Poor innocent Fred.
He left us.
It's different. We did our summer field school at a farm, and there was a rooster crowing every
Oh.
5 minutes. It drove us nuts. I want to see Gail die. Just to give myself some sort
Oh
of
my God.
Gail
Like,
in the box.
I am
shut the
living through
box.
this game. I'm living my revenge fantasy.
That's how it's been. First the tick monsters and
Oh, I'm so glad I missed the tick monsters. I'm not lying there.
Yeah.
well, who has Gail though? Because I reckon, right? Gail could fit in the box. The box of death.
Still with Fred, and Fred is with Moo.
Oh, okay. I thought he left Gail behind. All
Oh
right.
no. Gail's like his best little buddy. Like he goes
Gail is
nowhere
his
without
backpack.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. Has there been any effects to my sword since it came into contact with the lid of the box?
None that you have noticed.
Good answer.
What is that? What does that mean?
You
Huh?
haven't followed Goblin Intuitive Science Protocol yet, Dagmar.
I feel like that's just a really great way to get killed. Have you
Now-
licked it yet?
It's stone
I think
and
that was
bone.
discussed.
You mentioned that the walls are now sort of clad in the metal. Is this the same kind of metal that the objects are made of?
Yeah, it seems very similar. So I'm assuming you're gonna explore and invest. Well, actually, wait a minute. Let me look at this. Wait, hold on a second. Who's actually in the room? Well, you all should be in the room, but
I thought
They're
Janera
like-
was outside, but Janera should have come in by now. I would figure, right? You want to be in here with us, right?
I just pictured putting my head inside. I really didn't want to mess about with whatever was in there.
Guys, what about one of the smaller objects on the ground? Maybe we should try to pick up one of those.
Just grab the box.
Is the floor made of the same kind of weird metal as the walls and the other objects?
no, it's stone.
Is there
Uh.
like I know in some of the other rooms the flooring had carvings in it. Are there any carvings in the stone?
No, this one seems to be kind of well. Okay, so let me give you actually a picture for one. Let me see here. There's kind of a. So if you remember some of my other drawings, there is sort of funny geometric textures on it, but in none of it really stands out. There is one thing that does stand out, and I'm gonna show you. It's on the far wall. You see. Okay, wait. Let's see there. Did I get that right color?
Hmm.
So there is over here. There is something on the wall. Let me see. Where do I have it? Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to like I might have to switch the window that we're at because this is all right.
I'm sorry. Is that a keyhole in the middle of a virtual swirly vortex into the void?
It sure looks like it.
You are assuming too much that it represents the void. You are using
And
your biases and
I still have the key that Moo's crew dropped.
hmm
Hmm.
Moo's crew. You know, there's the mysterious island of Moo, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why Daryl named her that.
The pseudo-archaeology in this game hurts me.
That's why he does it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's supposed to.
Pretty much.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, if that's what the keyhole looks like and those are the things coming out of the keyhole, I really can't blame them for not wanting to touch the keyhole.
Well,
That's a no poll for me.
well, the funny thing is, it's not a hole. It's flat. It's flush.
But
It's
this
just a
is
picture.
also a magical key that got left behind by Bigfoot, so
That's right. And they had to do a dance to get it to appear.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
What have you been doing to this group, Daryl?
Do
Tormenting
we
and
remember
torturing.
enough of their dance to be able to recreate it?
I. Oh, okay. If I
Daenerys
remember
saw
correctly.
everything. I have notes. Daenerys saw everything.
Oh, okay. I guess a
Very
little bit of a
detailed note.
hint because so in case people haven't actually been catching up, because this would be several sessions ago. Remember that the magic user in the group is Cassandra. Cassandra's nonverbal, and in the game you're supposed to be able to say things to cast spells. So for her to help them get to cast a spell, she had to teach them her way of casting the spell, which would be through movement, rhythm, dancing.
Okay. That makes
I like
sense.
this.
Well, folks, here's the thing. I can't see a bright big red button without pushing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the key in this keyhole. Whether y'all want to stick around the room or not is entirely up to you.
Good man. Or good goblin.
Okay.
All right, let's do this, Gretel.
Where's my token? I need to move her a smidge. I need to move
Move.
her out of the way.
Please move your figures into position before Gradoll sets off the nuclear blast.
Before Grandel kills you all.
Will do.
Keeping in mind, there is no safe radius for a nuclear blast unless you are miles outside
Your
of it. So have fun
comment
with
is
that.
Or inside a
unlovely.
lead-lined refrigerator.
That's
Yep,
true.
inside my refrigerator.
Do we
Or
have
like
the
my
map
father
screen up?
hiding beneath your desk at work.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
The hallway.
That was a brilliant thing. My dad was like, "Okay, you saying that I can protect myself from a nuclear fireball by hiding underneath kindling. Okay, that makes sense."
It made them feel better.
Yeah,
Mm,
that was the purpose.
all right.
Daryl, I think you need to switch us over on.
Oh yeah,
Roll20.
sorry.
We're still-
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Da, 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 da.
He would have just had us stay there so we'd die.
Yeah.
Hey,
Damn it.
where
I got a
the
lot of
heck
windows
am
open.
I gonna go? Gonna go a wee bit over here.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get right up in here in case anything happens to Gretel. I can be there for Gretel.
I appreciate that a great deal. I am going to turn the key, but first I'm going to come over here and give Bam Bam one last scritch behind the ear and call him a good boy.
Aww,
Oh,
Aw.
that's sweet.
he's like hungry.
Please feed me, strange green man.
But
Kind of
eventually
looks
the
like a
spell's gonna run out,
blueberry
and I
on top
want
of a
him
leaf.
to think of me fondly.
It's raining men.
Before or after it eats your corpse?
Mm,
Okay.
all right.
Draw my crossbow, just in
Excellent.
case.
All right.
Ah.
I'm gonna count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, I can't do it.
Gretel.
Oh, just kidding. Turn it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Gretel, please roll a percentile die.
What does that mean?
Oh
Roll-
no.
Either roll
Okay.
8d10 or 2d10.
Yeah, I'm going.
Did we lose a friend?
2d10. Do I have to? Okay. So D100. There it is.
Perfect.
Yeah, they have it already.
31.
Okay.
Why not just say roll a d100?
Percentile, percent per 100, same thing. No. Okay. So what happens is you turn the key. There's a bit of a kind of magical spark flash, and then the door opens. Oh well, there I go.
The door.
And you're outside.
Oh.
Please tell me they're just outside. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, we've been
that's
in
how
this
we
room before.
that's how we get out. That's good to know.
I quit. I resign. I am done. Oh wow, this really is just the lobby again. Because all temples and ruins have lobbies.
I really appreciate that this temple has a lobby. Is there a snack bar? Can I get gummy drops and some popcorn?
Kinda, that mimic would check you in.
Eh. How do you know I'm not the mimic?
Dun
Dun,
dun
dun.
dun.
I don't,
Jinx.
but I did kill the mimic. So
Can't
Now-
kill me. I'm God.
Is there a key on the other side of the door that opened?
Well, go ahead and mark where you think there might be a door.
You already drew it in.
No, I mean, on the other. Is there a keyhole on the other side over here?
Oh,
So
go
we
ahead
know-
and roll investigation.
Oh, I am just fantastic at that. Okay. All right. Guidance. Ooh, 14.
Yeah, you notice there's a symbol on that side. Very, 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 very faded. Very, very faded. It looks like it would match, kind of correspond. It's hard to read. You're not quite sure whether it is exactly the same thing, but yeah, there's something very, very faded on the other side that would seem to correspond to that, the quote-unquote keyhole.
I would have laughed really, really hard if Daryl was like, "Oh, 14, that's pretty high." No. The answer is no.
I've been there.
Hmm.
That's a really nice nat 20. No. I mean, no.
Hmm.
Well, at least we have a quick escape now if, these objects are really bad.
This confuses me because if Moo's crew already had this key, then Why didn't they just use it on the outside and come right here, unless this wasn't their goal in the first place?
True. So then, does
And
the
we-
key serve a different purpose? Is there more than one door that we need to look for?
Hmm.
Door on the other side to the west.
You'll have to
I don't know.
investigate.
To
If
the
we
west of the
explored
hall?
everything or not. I think in the main hall, yeah. Or in the lobby.
Like
All right,
right
I'm
over
gonna
here?
go. Yeah.
I like that you keep calling it a
Is there a
lobby.
door there?
Investigate,
There
please.
The lobby. Let's all go to
Let's
the
go
lobby.
to the lobby.
Oh, that's good.
Get ourselves a snack.
Okay.
No
I
one
don't-
goes to the movies anymore.
No.
Okay, I don't want to play your character for you, but with that, go to a roll genera. My assumption is that you reach into your pocket, you pull out a brush, and you begin to brush away at the door
Yes.
very gently.
Very meticulously.
Working from a larger brush to a smaller brush, finally to a toothbrush.
Oh no.
No.
We don't use toothbrushes in the field. No. Just paintbrushes.
Okay. and you just see that there's another also image on that wall, but it looks different.
Oh. Oh.
Hmm.
I think it
keyhole
looks more
is-
like a crack. Should I smack it with my sword?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the downside is people can't see your smiling faces and all of our goofy hats. So
I'm wearing 3 hats.
you
They will
are.
soon.
I thought you
They
had
will
4.
soon.
That looks much more like a cat butt than a keyhole.
A little.
I think it's the same drawing. It's just reversed.
I mean, I can pull out the other drawing if you want to look at it.
Is the other drawing cat butt still there too? Cat butt keyhole.
Oh no, they're definitely different.
Pareidolia strikes again.
Sarah, that you assumed that Daryl did something easy as flipping an image that he drew. You thought
First off, that would be change blindness, and secondly, pareidolia is noticing a pattern where there isn't one.
That's true.
Take that.
do you
Now-
think if we push the key in really hard?
Well, I think let's just see gently if it fits first.
So it's the same thing again. It's again flush. So there's no actual hole.
Gunnar says the
Oh,
power
yeah.
of physical
I didn't
violence.
really put the key up against it, right?
Yeah.
Let's try that here.
All right. Please roll a percentile die again.
I would ask before that. I would ask everybody to back away as they did before. I'm small and expendable.
Oh, that's
Aw.
not true. We need
You're
you.
really not though.
All right.
We don't need Bam Bam though anymore. I don't think we even told him we were leaving him.
Yeah, you just hear like, "Where are you guys? Guys?"
It can talk. Oh
I
lord.
can
Yeah,
understand.
talk
It
with
can
him.
talk to Dagmar. Dagmar knows how to talk to animals.
We have a special bond.
I remember this. Punch a
So we got
cow.
a 52.
You can give me a dirty look. I vaguely remember Dagmar getting drunk and almost punching a cow.
It wasn't a cow. It was a
Because of
horse.
Yeah.
That made it better.
Because he didn't understand me when I was trying to figure out where the APE was.
That's right.
Okay. So once again, there's a bit of a magical spark and a little bit of a glow.
Oh. It
And-
worked this time.
the door open. You have a room.
You have to be there for the chat, sorry.
This is, I think, the first time this is a room we haven't been in before.
Did you find the not lobby?
Okay. Now, before you walk in, please, everybody, roll perception.
You
Okay.
have discovered the men's room.
Everyone can hear you, right, Sarah? Sometimes you're muted. Like the presenters can hear you, and then the chat can't.
Daryl has control of this.
Okay, good.
So, but it's even funnier if they can't. So, who are you guys talking to? Who's Sarah?
Okay. Ooh, this is not quite what I was thinking, but we'll go with it. Okay.
It is the men's room.
So, everybody, except for Gradall, everybody takes a step into the room, stops, walks back out. Gradall's the only one that takes a couple steps in.
But why though?
All of you, except for Gradall,
Absolutely.
notice this as you walk in,
Oh no!
that there's something on the floor. There's a kind of
Oh.
crunching sound, like the sound of fortune cookies.
Oh.
No.
Good luck, Randall.
Okay.
I look down. What do I see?
Okay. You realize that the ground is covered in teeth.
Oh, that's not that
Oh.
bad.
Somebody get some inspiration from somewhere.
You recommended it.
Yes.
Worried there that it was something awful for a minute. It's just a ground full of teeth.
Okay, where's our bio ants people?
So one time when I was in school, we had to do the teeth exercise, which consisted of a shoebox full of displaced teeth.
Ooh.
It was awful. They were all from the dental school. They were awful.
Full of holes and like rotten or what?
Yes.
Ew.
Yes.
Christiana volunteers.
Pick me, coach. Put me in. There.
And so the crunch. All right, then, Gradall, you find you that you're standing on teeth.
Ew.
Ew.
So, well, I'm a druid. I'm used to dead stuff, so rather than standing on teeth, I'll just sort of brush the teeth aside with my feet. What's underneath the teeth?
Nothing. It's just a stone floor. As before, the room is very
Stone
similar.
floor.
More
Except in
teeth.
this case, though, you now actually have several of the boxes.
Did you ever open the first
I
one?
know what's in the box.
Dear. I
These
have an
are
intuition about
ossuaries.
yes, these are. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm gonna go ahead and go with everybody else and back out of the room.
How do you scare a bunch of archaeologists playing D&D? Put grave sites in the game.
Not touching it.
Daryl knows this really well.
Glad I've been here for both of these incidences, actually. Oh man, it's an unmarked open grave. Yeah, we should maybe just, we should just leave that alone.
Do you guys are you guys want the shippo to show up? Do you want the Helgarina rock bottom to show up to help
Do you
you
want the
here?
shippo? Because this is how the shippo shows up.
There's actually a chance my boss is watching this, so this is great. So we
I'm sorry,
delicately close the door. We make the appropriate phone calls. We continue with our write-ups.
I believe you have to contact the dissent groups.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Who's got those numbers?
Who are the dissent groups? Have you guys done the background for that yet?
We haven't figured out this particular culture yet.
No.
You don't know they're ossuaries.
Yeah.
I do. No, just kidding.
That's the weird thing about our characters. None of us can figure this out, but for some reason they all know a thing or two about archaeology. It's really strange. I
Every now
don't
and then
know.
they just have these moments.
Mhm,
It's like
mhm.
they lived a second life or something, and it's all coming back to that.
I'm just saying, as an uninvested, disembodied voice who isn't even part of this party, you haven't opened any of these boxes yet. So canonically, you don't know, other than there's a room full of teeth, which is just weird. What's
The
in the
other
boxes?
one, it was nasty.
Wait, you didn't open the other one, did you?
Yeah,
Oh, what was it?
dried blood.
Well, see, that's not
Ah.
just a box full of blood. You're good.
I've been called Dagmat in the comments.
What?
Dun, dun, dun,
Oh no,
dun,
Dagmat is becoming self-aware.
dun, 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 dun. Okay, at some point you have to tell people that you just want the facts.
Should I go over there with my sword and try to open one?
Your funeral?
Do they all
Literally.
do they all the boxes look the same as the first one we found?
They are all very the artistic motifs and designs are very similar, but if you look very closely, they are slightly different. Like the tentacles are slightly curled differently. The quote unquote faces, pareidolia, pareidolia, it looks slightly different.
Would would Bam Bam know anything about this that I could call out to him and ask him about this?
Great.
Please talk to the giant chicken. Yes.
Yeah, because did you know dinosaurs evolved from birds? Fred taught them that.
And this is why we don't like Fred.
That broke my head for a minute. Like, first off, who's Fred? Oh yeah, I forgot. I mean, maybe in this world they did.
Now, there's nothing about this culture or any of these objects seems familiar at all. We can't do like a history check or a intelligence check or anything like that to try to figure it out.
Go ahead. I think we did this last time, but let's just do it again. Why don't you... So each of you are going to use one of these skills to try to figure out what the heck is up with these things. You can either use history, arcana, investigation. I'm trying to think if there's another skill that could be useful. Dagmar, did you use animal handling?
Yeah, because the thing is, I tried nature, I tried survival. I'm just going down my list here. I'm trying to see if Dagmar has seen teeth like this on an animal.
Okay. Okay.
So can we just combine them? The 7 plus the 3 plus the
No.
11. It's con.
That's not how this works.
That's not how that works.
I'll
You
do
wish.
a religion. I'll do a religion check. See if there's anything.
Okay, so...
Dagmar's just picking up teeth and going,
Does it?
"Don't put that in your mouth. Don't know where it's been."
A little bit smaller than mine.
Try to measure with your fingers.
You were picking your teeth with your sword? You shouldn't put that sword in your mouth. You don't know where that mouth has been.
All right, come on, identify these bones. Let's go.
Oh, we've got Discord messages.
Yes.
Ignore them. Identify bones.
They're from the DM.
Oh.
Do I ignore them?
Let's see...
I
I
knew it.
Oh no.
You
By
need
the
a
way, can I
magical
say, Anna, for the
DM
first
message.
time, I'm recognizing your. I think you have an X-Files poster on your back wall. Is
I
that right?
do. Yeah. I
Okay.
do indeed. I actually haven't seen the show yet.
You have a file?
I know. I think a bunch of I think some of you have been telling me to watch it for a year now, and then other people for longer. I just really
Max.
like that poster.
Dagmat's Ruthpick, yes. It's Dagmat's
Oh
Ruthpick.
my god.
Only gonna get worse.
I am in shock, DM, of what I think you have done here.
Are you gonna share with the class? Any of you?
Yeah.
Bueller?
Well,
Yeah.
I can't say for anybody else, but I can say that this is some dark stuff here. You know, I mean, we druids, you know, we like the whole balance thing, good versus evil. You know, we try to keep it kind of even keel. In the battle between like darkness versus light, this place is all the way the hell over in the darkness. It's real bad. It's like some kind of ancient dark religion. I think these things are not burial. I think they're associated with human sacrifice.
Well, there you go.
And,
It's not ossuaries.
like
So
visitors from dark dimensions and that sort of thing, like ancient old ones and stuff like that. It
I-
gives
Gerald,
me
just
it
put
gives
ancient
me
aliens in your game.
I can back Graddle up on this. This is definitely from a very old civilization that we have legends about, and these legends have categorized them as being evil, and that they were known to eat people.
ooh,
Or
like
pigs.
Touch the box.
What?
they were known to eat people, like for fun or flavor. Not that it matters. Just asking for a friend.
Here we have a remnant flavor of pork.
I think the teeth look to me a lot like Daintyfoot's teeth, right? So I'm thinking now that some miniature pigs used to be here, and that something very, very bad happened to them. And I don't like that at all.
Like the story, let's go with this one.
I think the whole thing is adding up to some very, very bad people, some doing some very, very bad things.
But on the flip side, if the only thing that makes them very, very bad is they're eating quote unquote people, I mean, everybody somewhere on the food chain. I'm just saying, eating doesn't make you evil.
Hmm.
So, DM,
Yes.
would I have any additional like historic background on this civilization?
I'm going to remind everybody, I did show you guys this. Hopefully, is it still on here? Please say it's still on here, because I'm pretty sure I showed it to you before. Give me a moment, let me see. Remember that you saw some of the drawings from the professor's journals and his notes? I don't know if you remember this drawing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's not anatomy. They were showing where all the tastiest pieces were. Mm. Ooh, icky.
It doesn't look like a pig to me.
Very
No,
perceptive as always, Dagmar.
Daryl, that is so cool.
given that it's not a huge surprise that these things are cursed.
Dagmar is wondering why the DM sent her a message about little baby pigs now.
mm,
I think
probably
you need to examine
because
your role.
pigs are fairly close anatomically to humans.
True.
This is true, but Dagmar feels a little bit misled.
Dagmar held her role.
Closer look.
Yeah. We have a fairly good idea that these objects were cursed, but DM, just as a question,
Yes.
um, lesser restoration only affects conditions. It doesn't affect curses or anything like that. For
Yeah,
that, you would need like greater restoration, right?
I'm trying to remember actually, because that's kind of a
Because
technical
I'm just
thing.
wondering if I could cast lesser restoration on one of the objects in either room to see if I could remove the curse from it, but I don't think that. I think you need like greater restoration, which I'm a few levels away from right now.
Yeah, Greater Restoration is fairly. It's a 5th level spell. It's fairly high, so it's typically done on people, not on objects.
Hmm.
So it is a strategy, but one unavailable to you at the moment.
Hmm.
At what level do you need to get to where you can start creating your own spells and rituals?
I mean, technically, like if you want to get into like the mechanics and meta of it, technically he can make the spells right now, but it just they have to cost, right? They can't just be like this fantastic spell. It has to sort of align
Right,
with
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
levels they're at. So if any of you have spell slots or whatever, and you want to make up a spell, go ahead and tell me, and then we'll just put that in. It's not a big deal.
I think
Can
it
I
would
have
be
a-
like dispel magic. I think if we cast it on an object, but I don't think druids dispel magic.
Yeah, but then you get rid of the what makes the object unique, right? It's got its curse, Well, why remove it? It's put there for a reason.
Do barbarians get spells?
A defining feature.
You got to think about the integrity of the artifact here.
Exactly.
Well, ideally, we want to keep these things from being looted so that people don't get cursed by them. That's the real problem, and the reason we're here is that there are citizens in Clarg. It's not just Ami was cursed, but let's not forget that 2 of our companions died because of one of these cursed objects. We need to figure out I think we've right now figured out what's caused them to be cursed. As to figure out how to get rid of the curse.
I'm just watching Daryl's expressions while you're
Yeah.
talking, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is why we normally don't play with the videos on, because
Yeah.
And you can't
Really
see
telling.
when the DM's smiling.
Yeah.
That's always a good tell.
Goodness gracious.
What if
Should I open one with my dagger?
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Please do it.
It doesn't help if you look off screen, Daryl. It's just, they'll struggling to see your face.
Oh no, I'm trying to type it. I'm, because I have like the 2 monitors here for the computer and then my laptop. So
Good lord, what are you like, Grand Command Central over here?
well, because remember, like I'm trying to monitor myself and I can't run the audio through the main computer because then it picks it up
Ooh,
again.
I offered to do this for you.
Ah! All right, go. Okay, so theory. So what are you gonna do then? You're approaching the
I'm gonna
object.
touch it, which I'm not going to do, but I will approach the object and I'll use my dagger just to kind of lift up the lid, smell to see if it smells as bad as the other one.
Okay. So once
So-
again, when you lift the lead with your dagger, it has no weight to it, and it not only does it have no weight, it also doesn't drop down. So you lift it and then it stays there. So it just sort of sits there, sort of floating, open. So if you want to close it, you have to force it back down. You peek inside, and it seems to be something similar on the inside. The dark, really dark, kind of rancid liquid on the inside as well. Kind of slimy.
Wait, are you positive it's blood in the first box?
Siri, look it.
the sarcophagus
No.
juice.
drink the sarcophagus.
Anyone bring
tea.
Tabasco? Who's got the Tabasco? All right, it smells like death, like the last one. So I'll try to push it down with the end of my sword, or my dagger,
It closes without effort.
without touching it. All right, and then I'll go back and be like, Smells just like the last one.
Okay. Oh, wait. Actually, a theory. I'm gonna be really, really
Uh-oh.
particular about this. When you close it, how do you close it? Like, with a lot of force or very little force?
Neat. So, I mean, because you said it takes a lot of force to push down, so I try to do it as. But I'm very experienced in opening and closing boxes and picking locks, and
Okay.
so I think I'm pretty familiar with that kind of hinge.
It's not that it takes force, but I'm wondering is. So let's roll a sleight of hand
Okay.
because I'm trying to hint at something.
All
Hint, hint,
right.
wink, wink. Okay.
Didn't
Trying to
really
destroy you.
wasn't able to talk my way out of that.
Nice try.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, I told you I was
Hey.
experienced at this.
Yeah.
Dang it! Foiled again. I've cranked the luck meter, the luck
You
gauge a little
never
bit too high.
cranked it down. You never cranked it down since Lisa's birthday.
That's right.
Wait, you're giving them magical bonuses without making them work for it? Bad GM.
No.
It was the joke that Anna did last time that I somehow can magically adjust their rolls.
Oh. I think you can.
Oh. Oh.
The so it doesn't. It requires no effort. It actually requires no effort for you to close the lid, but you have to be. You must be deliberate You must be deliberate in doing so. You must push it actually back into place. Uh, you are so deft and skilled. You actually place it back exactly where it was.
Good job.
Without a sound.
Did I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
42.
Are there any mice or little critters around, perhaps? Little
I'm going to continue.
spiders?
I'm going to continue with my joke because
Mhm.
it's an archaeological term that I know and I'm trying to show off. The deposition rate in this room is incredibly low. There is like almost no dust. You see no dust basically on the floor, so it's very difficult for you to see any sort of footprints on the floor, in
What
the
about
dust.
out in the lobby?
Yeah, I mean, out in the lobby is basically exposed. It's not that deep. It's only a few. What is that like? The lobby, quote unquote lobby. It's only like 20 to 30 feet deep, if that.
So where's a mouse?
So, uh, it's
Gonna sit there and wait for it.
It's like, bring it to me so that I can converse with it.
and get it to do what?
I'll just be like, what's wrong with this room? What do you know about this?
I know that the room is slightly larger than a 25 by 25 foot room that the average here, and the walls are slightly larger than 8 feet tall.
Now we need Sarah to be here to do the voices of
know,
the
I know.
animals.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Well,
So, maybe we should close this door back.
I'd agree with that.
And maybe we
I'll-
can use the key to lock it again.
forever.
Agreed. Agreed. So is the door light or heavy? Can I push it closed, or is this something we need Dagmar for?
It doesn't. When you push on it, it doesn't seem to want to close.
Oh, I'll make it close. Give me 1 second.
Oh, it's tasted freedom.
It's Dagmat time.
Dag.
Yeah.
Okay. You push
I like that
and you
you're
pull.
I like that you're leaning into that.
Yeah. You put as much of your shoulder and your back into it, but it does not budge.
Okay, I'll try this again.
Power of
I
teamwork?
touch the keyhole, the key to the keyhole again.
Okay. Again, a little bit of a flash and a sparkle from the key, the quote-unquote keyhole, and then the door slowly closes. Its outline then sort of glows slightly and then fades away.
Do I have to roll a D100 again, or
No.
Hmm.
Okay.
No
Now,
metagaming.
let's, carefully build another wall up over the top of this wall.
Just like Bugs Bunny, like brick it over.
Yeah, just brick over it. Yeah.
You're like, where have you guys been? 6 months. And you're like, walls take a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We had to make sure that no one could access the site ever again.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm gonna pop back into the other room, and can I inspect all the other objects that we found? Do they all appear to be made of the same metal
Yes.
as the box?
Yes.
What about Dagmar's sword? Is it also made of the same metal as the box?
It is. It seems unnaturally, like, not fresh. I'm trying to think like, um, it seems unnaturally untainted by I'm trying to think of by corruption. Okay. But it does not seem to be the same metal. It seems to be regular iron. Would they have steel at this point? I don't.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's
Would
steel.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, this
You
is.
mean corroded?
Yeah, it's not corroded at all. Trying to be fancy with my words here. I have 3 hats.
Sorry.
It does seem to be natural. It just seems to be like regular steel, but it doesn't seem to be rusted at all. Very strangely for an object that's been sitting around for a long time.
But all the other objects seem to be of the same metal. The flower ring, the mirror, the little spiral.
Yeah, they all seem to be made out of the same space titanium.
And is that also the case with the key that I currently have?
Yeah, the key is made of a similar material.
Well, this seems to be the basis of whatever sort of magic. This metal seems to be the basis of whatever magic this past civilization had. Although I'm very hesitant to call anybody who would eat people civilized. Well, we seem to have found where the curse comes from. Question is, what do we do about it? Because people are still going to want to come out here and loot things, and they're still going to be cursed.
I know. Public outreach.
Tell everybody where the site is.
Oh yeah, that never goes badly.
Oh yeah, no.
You know, there was a study that actually showed that naming something as a UNESCO World Heritage Site actually increases the looting that takes place
Oh,
at a given site, like considerably.
Yeah, I've seen something like that.
That's great. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
well,
oh, yeah, I figured I got to include at least one downer every.
Okay, so what you need to do then is to get the current community that lives in the area and get them invested in the protection of the site by giving them ownership of the site somehow. So you need to like convince them that they need to preserve this site for their own inherent needs, and that way they will become invested in protecting the site and you don't have to worry about it as much.
So we need to create a stewardship program.
That's the word.
okay. Well,
Ooh, Dr.
there's-
Pickle, the
exciting
dinosaurs, or the tick monsters?
Is that what the Templars are? Just an old stewardship program to protect the sacred. Oh my god.
Okay.
I am not a player. I am just here to heckle.
Well, I think this is a good transition since we have about an hour left. Actually, a little bit less. If we would like, we can. I'm going to change the scene on OBS. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare everything, so you're going to see me sort of like shuffle around the cameras real quick as I sort of like adjust things. But it'll be good because you'll see my 3 hats. Thank you very much.
Do the shuffle. Do, 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 do.
So I gotta like do all the like weird like cropping and things like that. Okay.
I'm sorry for being like a nuisance, but this has been a lot of fun.
I mean, it was a special thing for con, so like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do such a great job.
Okay, let me see. I'm adjusting Sarah right now. I'm gonna like oh no.
Next year that we do this, though, I want to put you guys on an earlier slot so you'll have more people watching. Viewership drops off after 4. The 4 p.m. slot's
Yeah.
the last time I saw the 20.
Mm,
Well, 12 is a lot more than
no,
we
I know.
usually get. I'm always happy if there's even just 1 or 2. Well, okay, 1 or 2 means there's only 2 of us watching, so that's not good. Because
I mean, you've got 12 unique viewers, and I don't think that includes me.
hi everybody.
Yeah, slowly like fidgeting with everything.
Oh, Jake, I wasn't gonna be mean, but you did that one to yourself, sir.
Oh, fight!
Fight!
There's no fight.
It make things a little bit more difficult for Daryl right now. I know he's trying to adjust the pictures.
Oh, you want to
Yeah.
make it
Moving
difficult
around.
for him? You got to like turn your camera on and off because it'll completely rearrange the
Oh,
squares.
Yeah, because
Oh.
I'm doing the Discord. Yeah, no, please no. Okay.
It's like no,
Okay.
pity me.
Okay, wait. All right, there's Stu. Okay, I'm gonna move Twitch chat. That's gonna go down. All right. There we go. We got one for Lisa there. Boop, boop.
So while we're working on this, would anyone mind if I ask the question that I was going to ask post stream?
Yes.
This is something that I've been
Whoops.
thinking about for a while, and I know it's a couple of months out. But I, for a different RPG system, I wrote a haunted house one-shot module for some friends of mine a couple of years back. And if y'all are amenable to it, I'd love to run it for you. I can adapt it to a D20 system, but I'd love to run a little special haunted house one shot for everybody in the Goblin Town team this Halloween.
That would be awesome.
I would love that. And then we get to
Zero
play
one.
with Daryl as a player.
We can
Yeah.
only do October if other people are involved. Though Christiana does seem to be pretty excited about Halloween things. And personally, I think October's fun. What system are we talking?
Well, originally I made it for an indie RPG called Dread that uses a Jenga tower, but that would not work in
Oh,
this
that won't
system.
work. Yeah,
So,
that's unfortunate.
but it would be easy enough to adapt it to a D20 system.
I think that would be great, and I wholly support using an indie game. It's too bad we can't use the Jenga tower, but I don't really see how that would.
That wouldn't work virtually.
But you know, I mean,
What about with that
Nice.
tabletop simulator thing on Steam?
I don't think they have Jenga and Tabletop Simulator, and I think that doing Jenga virtually would take away a lot of the suspense.
Yeah.
you die a
In the
lot.
game, when you're playing it, if the Jenga tower falls while you're pulling a block out, your character dies. So it's a survival horror game.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal. It's fun though.
I like have a picture with everything. Sorry.
I like how you're trying to take the lazy man's way out of it.
I know, right? Sorry.
It
I still haven't put Ellie in here. Sorry, Ellie.
It's okay.
That's me. I don't see Ellie here.
We have 2 Sarahs.
Yeah, I know,
That's
right?
all-
It's pretty
all you
good.
really need.
Everyone needs 2 Sarahs.
Okay, I think.
I need 2 me's so we can argue over who's going to clean the toilet.
That's familiar.
Ah, the domestic bliss of breaking up household chores.
Yeah.
So what? So while Daryl does this, what are we planning? What were you guys thinking for the second hour? Am I just supposed to bombard you with random questions about your ossuary, not ossuaries, and that inherentness that cannibalism doesn't necessarily mark you as being? Of course, it's not cannibalism unless you're eating your own kind. So
I think I almost have it.
Well, I don't know. It's
Nice.
interesting. If we are going to talk about cannibalism, there's a lot of that's actually close to home. The discovery of I believe they called her Jane at in Jamestown, colonial Jamestown, during
isn't
so-called
that
starving time.
isn't that like not real or not conclusive?
It's I don't know if it's conclusive or not. I know that studies have been published saying that it's fairly conclusive, but
Okay, well,
from what I understand, there were cut marks indicating butchery. But
butchery necessarily mean eating.
that's a good question.
Could just be defleshing, which is a known post secondary burial. So, but was the person? Have they identified the ethnicity of the person, or have they
Yeah,
guessed
this
at the?
is this is colonial Jamestown during the starving time, when the shipment from England that was supposed to arrive didn't show up.
And God forbid they actually learn how to like hunt. So
Well, to be fair, they had also completely demolished their their relationship with the local Native American nations there too.
yes,
If you've never seen the Adam Ruins Everything, he did an episode of animated history called The First Thanksgiving, which is very
remember, people, at the first Thanksgiving we had long pork.
Hmm.
No, the hats were planned. You just weren't aware of it.
What?
So
Well, she
my hat's
always
in my
wears
car.
her hat. It's her signature, so.
When am I not wearing this hat? You
Ah, there he is. Terrell went away. Come back, Terrell.
Sorry, I'm like adjusting things.
This is me with the chat box earlier.
It was entertaining though, but sadly, no one else was commenting about it, and I was hoping there'd be like
I'm
a
kind of
whoa.
glad nobody,
what's
because
going
I was
on?
like, oh, this is totally taking away. But at the same time, no one seems to notice. So bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Daryl, now that we're in the discussion portion, what's in the box?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, like,
Do you want me to give any context, Daryl? Are you good?
well, okay. Do you want me to actually like literally like explain my ideas for it or what?
No. I mean, it's still an active plot thread, but it's weird because it's so I love the whole Lovecraftian area that this is going into, and the design to sort of meld that with the traditional Chinese bronze ossuary was really interesting. I just, as a player, I have no idea what we're going to do to actually fix the damn problem. That's the concern.
Well,
But as an archaeologist, we walk into this room. We've only found one box prior. Technically, a box filled with something. Did we test the blood residue? Do we know it's blood, or are we just assuming it's blood?
a theory rolled a decent investigation. She was like, "Ah, I've seen blood enough times. This is blood."
Okay, so
Yeah.
we can be confident that it's blood.
Yes.
Finding blood inside of a box does not necessarily make it an ossuary, because an ossuary technically means bone box, so we need to have some kind of leftover remain. Also, how is there still like fresh enough blood in this box that it can be identified and not just considered like a residue?
Because they're magical objects, Sarah.
I have this hat on, right? The only thing this hat does is command other people around, sit under an umbrella, and colonialize. So we're not these archaeologists here. No. But I mean, so if we were doing archaeology in a world where magic was real, I mean, first off, it would be easier. But secondly, what kind of things are we expecting to find though to let us know that something is inherently magic? Like, think about the objects that we find today that are considered sacred or magical. What commonalities do these objects have, or what behaviors towards these objects do we see that tell us that without someone coming up and saying this object is magical? How do we? So you go into the lobby, and then you go into the left and to the right room. How do you know you're looking at a magical object other than the swirling cat butt keyhole? Cat butt keyhole.
I don't want to speak for anybody else, but it's, you can parallel it to something in real life. Is how do we tell that something is a sacred item versus
Right.
an ordinary item?
Right.
It's done
Without being told
research and
blatantly, this is a
consultation.
sacred item.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that's a big tell is there's the designs on the boxes seem to be very, very clearly apotropaic. They're very much a warning: stay away from this.
What do you mean
I'll tell
apotropaic?
you. Well, apotropaism is a concept which involves basically the idea of putting scary designs or scary objects on things in order to scare away
I see what you're saying.
influences, and also to scare away would-be tomb robbers. So, for example, in ancient Mesopotamia, they used to wear, this was in The Exorcist, in ancient Mesopotamia, they used to wear little demon figurines. The demons would scare away other demons.
Zuzu.
Yeah, the Zuzu thing. Or there's a practice in Hinduism to put statues of demons on the outside of temples to keep the inside of the temple sacred and scare away all the other bad stuff.
Or the evil eye.
Yeah. By the way, Daryl,
Yeah.
the designs that you put on those boxes are going to live in my nightmares, I think.
See, this is something I want to point out, though. Like, we're looking at, and I know I don't really need to explain this to any of you, but to the people who are watching, we're looking at this object with our own cultural bias. This is a scary object to us. We've been programmed to see tentacles, especially out of place tentacles, and we think, we all know what we're thinking. But so that, and because we've all been programmed to associate Lovecraft with horror, we see tentacles now out of place and we think, oh, it's a horror object. But putting ourselves into the context of finding this object, we're in a different culture. What if this isn't necessarily trying to scare someone away from the object? What if this is trying to communicate something else about the object, or something else about whatever's inside the box? I mean, maybe tentacles. It's like the whole concept of the snake in old Greek mythology isn't an evil object. It's an object of healing. But when you get into modern, especially Christian cultures, you'll find a lot of, the snake has now become a symbol of evil. Sorry, I was going somewhere with that and then I got distracted. So what if what we're seeing, what if what we're interpreting in this object is being something to scare us away, because it's doing that? What if what it's really trying to do is trying to like bring people to it? How would we figure that one out? Other than there's a room full of teeth, which I think would be creepy in any culture.
Yeah, most of you are so archaeologists.
Yeah.
No, Daryl, you actually put in the Twitch chat that it was based on Kalki, which are
So okay,
Basically, like a set of 4 different kinds of demons, if I remember.
okay. So when you're talking about you called them a ding, like a fang ding or something. I think ding is specifically bronze vessel. It's bronze. Like it's the word for bronze, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Tao Tie, if is sort of a monster. So, in kind of Chinese folklore and cosmology, you have the 4 directions, and then there's a monster or a beast to represent each of the 4 directions, and there's a good version and a bad version. If any of you have ever watched like anime, you'll hear about a turtle, a phoenix, a dragon, and a tiger. Those are the 4 good ones representing the 4 directions. There's a flip side to that, and the the creatures or whatever that are on those bronze vessels are Tao Tie are one of the bad versions. So and
So
then that
you are intending them to be evil.
I mean, and the other thing is, they're known. I mean, they're kind of mysterious because it's such an ancient idea, and it's kind
Mhm.
of somewhat divorced from contemporary culture. But it's generally thought that they were ravenous monsters. If you could read Chinese, the characters part of the characters that they use for the name is the word for eating. It actually says like eat in their name, partially when you write it. So they're known for eating.
But it's interesting because I know that the funding were not necessarily like they would have the Tao Tea on the outside, some of them, but they were actually used for food and wine offerings for ritual purposes during, I think, during the Zhou dynasty, the Zhou dynasty, right?
It's something like that. Michael, you said ritual. Everybody take a drink.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so think about that though. Michael's saying that they can be vessels for offerings. I mean, maybe, and again, going back to the whole concept of eating doesn't necessarily equate evil. I mean, I'm sure to some people, if I eat a pig, I'm being a horrible person. But for the majority of the world, if I'm eating a cattle type beast, I'm just eating. What if these vessels are being offered as food offerings, like at a I think they're Buddhist style graves where they're kind of set up kind of like a stage, and you're meant to put food and water and burn incense at the tomb or
Uh,
the graves.
well, yeah, I mean, just offering food for the dead or for spirits in general is fairly common around the world.
It,
So,
it 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 is. It is. It's. I mean, you see it in a lot of places, or just leaving offerings of any kind for those who have passed. I mean, the burning of paper emblems, um, incense, sweet grasses, burying objects, and sometimes food or metal objects are buried to appease um, the dead.
uh, I'm gonna bring back a little bit of D&D. I don't know if anyone remembers it, or when they first entered into the cave dungeon ruins area, Moo's crew did their dance, but they also gave an offering of donuts, specifically owl bear claws, as part of the offering to the as part of their spirit offering. So spirit gifting, and
How
that's
do
how
I
they got the
always
key.
forget to not have donuts? Well, but see, giving the giving of food offerings though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
then,
makes me wonder how they knew to do that, though.
Ooh,
that's true.
how
And
would
they
we
had a
figure that out?
purpose. They had a purpose of coming here. And my whole thought the entire time was to steal these items in some capacity and use them for, if our assumptions are right, with Kulog's army, the warlord, right?
Possibly.
Look at
Well,
Daryl.
okay, that's Dagmar thinking. What does Anna think? I'm not arguing with Dagmar's logic. I'm just saying what does the archaeologist brain say? Like how do you go about you come upon this group, you can't communicate with them because they either leave or they're hostile or they just ignore you. You see them perform a ceremony that isn't something that is modern. How do you figure out what they've figured out? Also, I want a bear claw now.
Tough questions today.
Questions. These are archaeology questions. Archaeology. Come on, Michael can't answer all of your questions for you.
I have
will-
I have no answers. I just talk a lot as part of my social anxiety, so I apologize.
All right, quit making him anxious, and someone else answer the question. Do your part here, people.
Hasn't spoken to the class in a while, huh?
And like, no hiding behind your prehistory focus.
Yeah.
I mean, it is prehistory, though, isn't it? If it's
Oh,
not
shush. Oh, shush.
it's like the definition of prehistory.
Well, so then obviously, for them to have gained this knowledge, they had to have conversed with somebody that had the knowledge. They obviously either someone within their group um could possibly be a descendant who has this knowledge, or they did the most important thing that we should all do is consultation. um so we would need to talk to people to figure out who might understand what this is.
Right.
How do we go about finding a potential descent group that we are unaware of? I think I've brought this one up before.
Public outreach.
Toasters and bars.
Answered everything. Thank you, Lisa.
Not wrong.
Well, I think
Not wrong at all.
Yeah.
It's not the wrong answer. It's
I
How do you
think
find a thing you know exists, but you don't know what it is? How do you find that thing?
I mean, like me from like an outsider, right? Because I'm like the only like non-archaeologist here, but at least from listening to you, I think this is sort of the tragedy also of archaeology and anthropology, and especially in the 1800s, in the 20th century. I'm mixing time like labels, but that sort of disconnect, right? That you had the opportunity to interview the people who are actually part of this culture, and you did it. Or sorry, I'm not. I shouldn't be accusatory. Sorry, but they did it. Actively sort of
You could
excluded
have
them,
saved these people, but you didn't.
right? And now we lack that institutional knowledge, and we have to, backtrack and kind of fix those mistakes of the past, and that's very difficult.
So we've got this is important. So we've got like Daryl's perspective as a non-archaeologist about how do we the loss of historical knowledge. So as archaeologists, though, we know it's not that easy. If a group doesn't want to be documented or studied, when do we step in, or do we step in? Like, if a group wants to fade into obscurity, is it our duty? Is it, are we actually helping by forcing some form of preservation, or should we, accept that maybe this group doesn't want to exist anymore, or at least exist in any way that we're capable of recording it? What do we do?
And we've put ourselves in a really tricky situation too, knowing that we've gone into this place well-meaning, chasing
Right.
after, looters, but making a muck on the way of doing that, traumatizing a poor T-Rex. And if we were to try to find descendant communities, right? And like you said, if they don't feel as open to talking with people or sharing their knowledge, we're worse than most because we've already trampled in. We didn't try to identify them beforehand, and we don't have much to offer them at this point because a relationship like that needs to go both ways. In my research, it's always been like that. Whereas me as an archaeologist, I want to do archaeology things, but I want to know how the archaeology can be beneficial to you and how can I use my skill set to do something that will benefit you and your community. And now at this stage that we're at, the only thing that we can get out of this relationship is something from them because we've already breached that any kind of trust that could have been in place there by just, you know.
And I think it's very difficult to I would think, and not being ever in that situation that I'm aware of, I would think it would be very difficult to refoster that trust that you would need to rebuild.
Yeah,
I
and
Yeah.
keep having all these notifications popping up. Go. Sorry.
um, so for myself, I think it's a lot of this is for marginalized groups whether they can actually see themselves as being in a position of agency, a position of authority. Um, right? Because I think for a lot of us, for myself, I don't think about it that often, but I do know that there are times for a person who I am, kind of lower middle class, colored, that there have been times I've been in a neighborhood and like I don't feel comfortable. This doesn't feel like I don't feel like I belong here. And speaking about figures of authority, I don't know sometimes if I'm like, oh, are they going to listen to me or are they not going to listen to me? Fortunately for me, growing up in Southern California, it's been fairly diverse, and so I think those feelings are much more mild in my case. And I'm just really curious about for other people who really are like literally the one person of color in a community that of something else, and
Well,
how.
there's
Go for it, Sarah.
I was gonna say there's really only one other person who can speak to that in the group, so
I
I don't
know
mean to
it's
be
me. Oh
mean.
crap! It is.
Huh?
I don't mean to be mean. I'm just like
What?
it's just like what?
What?
And
Well,
I'm not going to point things out because that's up for other people to decide if they want to participate
What?
in that.
what?
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 Yeah.
Well, and there's some people that have you know uh, an even more unique perspective on that if they're
Yeah.
from both cultures. Like if you're biracial,
Hmm.
you get a lot of I've seen interviews with people and they're like, I've been mistreated by both sides. I don't
Yeah.
really fit into either. And you're like, where do I belong as a person that is mixed race?
I
Yeah,
think that
that's
go.
I mean, being biracial, I haven't felt either white or, Asian American. I haven't felt either. Which is really difficult. But I mean, like even speaking beyond that, I've worked with tribal partners, for instance, on projects, right? They are archaeologists. They are indigenous archaeologists, but maybe they have less education or less experience in the field, whatever that be. They're the only ones out there and they're being, trampled by, as we've said for 2 days now, magical white people who think that their education, their experience, their title plus the color of their skin and everything toppled together is the winning combination. And so, when we find something out there and that indigenous archaeologist puts their opinion on that, whether it be a stone tool or whatever kind of artifact that is, could get somebody saying, "Well, I went to school for this. This is my specialization and this is what I paid, my master's degree told me that it's this." And then they get overshadowed and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's I think that's a nightmare situation for a lot of a lot of white archaeologists to be in a situation where because most people I talk to, this is me speaking as clearly a white person, we want to see more diversity in the field, and I feel like because I've not worked with a lot of non-white archaeologists in the CRM field because there just aren't a lot of them. And the few that I have worked with, you're struggling not to make them feel like an other just because they're different. I mean,
Mhm.
visually different. It's like, I think back to the two black archaeologists I've worked with, both of them separately, not together. And it's, you work hard to treat them like any other archaeologist, as you should, but it's always there. And, it's like who brings it up first?
Mhm.
But it's that you also have that experience that you like I can't have that experience that other person has, and that's what makes it valuable. So at the same time that you're like walking on eggshells because you really want this person here. At the same time, you're like, you want to ask them a million questions about their opinions on everything because it's completely different than any opinion that you're gonna have. So
Yeah.
it's a hard line to walk. I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor pitiful. I'm just saying like that's for me. That's what happens. Is I'm
Yeah.
like, I love having the ability to have that other perspective there. And yeah, I'm probably going to put a little bit more weight on it just because I can ask any white person what they think this pipe is, and I'm going to get probably the same answers because we've all gone through the same education. Well, so have you, but you might have a different perspective just because you have a different background.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about the fine line to walk. It seems like in academia, at least, it seems like there seem to be these two extremes. One is, as Anna mentioned, is people who get a PhD in their hands and suddenly they develop some sort of disease that makes them incapable of saying the words "I don't know" or "I was wrong" or
Right.
"What do you think?" And then you have the opposite end where we want to be involved with diversity in archaeology, and we want to bring in diverse opinions, but we also don't want to overload people with questions or force emotional labor upon them.
Exactly.
And this is an issue in every university that's attempting to create social justice or racial justice task forces. Is how do you address these issues, and but then in a community that's not as diverse as you would want it to be, without overburdening people who are already burdened with so much.
Or people who just want to be there to get an education.
Yeah, or just want to do their job.
They just want to be here. That they don't want to have to be the representation for everybody that looks like them. It's unfair to do that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times I've been offered to sit in on a diversity panel, which I will admit I like doing, and I pop it on my CV and suddenly my presentations list goes up a couple pages. But being offered to sit on those diversity panels, but nothing else, like anything on lithics or the specialties that I like talking about. It's always
Exactly.
diversity or
Or archaeological illustration, at which you are awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what your expertise is, you're always going to be boiled down to what you
Yeah.
would like.
Mhm.
And
I will do a
that's
stream
not
on
how
that,
we're
though.
supposed to do that. We should do a stream
Yeah.
on that. And we're
Yeah,
gonna
but
drag Daryl onto it since he's the one that started this.
What?
He's
What?
sitting there with his fan. He's
You can
all like,
hide behind that
"Oh."
fan all
I
you
know.
want, buddy.
Actually, speaking
Daryl is our peanut gallery.
seriously aside for a second, having seen all of the fantastic drawings you've done, Daryl, have you ever considered doing like not necessarily just fantasy, but archaeological illustration? 'Cause I
Yes.
think you'd be awesome at that.
I
I can't draw a damn stick figure. We need people
Thank
like you. Though.
you.
Rocks are tough, and you nail them.
well,
Rocks
thank you,
are
thank you.
tough.
I'm very flattered. I'm very dear me.
Careful, a hat will fall off.
What happens if
That's
you
right.
lose a hat? Do you suddenly become like less of the GM?
I don't.
One.
You don't. Yeah, the thing that you don't know is that every game I wear at least 3 hats, at least.
I'm
On
not
special
surprised by
days, I
this.
wear 4. No, I actually like. Okay, I'm gonna walk on Daryl Hiller for a minute because like he started this shit, so it's only fair to bring it back around to him. My hat that I'm wearing, he and I had a discussion about this hat, the pith helmet in general.
A year
Apparently
ago.
is yeah, but apparently it's a Filipino
Yeah.
creation, and that we were like, oh, what a nice hat! I'm just going to take your hat. Like literally, we took the hat. This is as much a symbol of antiquarianism and colonialism as it is archaeology. I mean,
Yeah.
how many idiots on TV have you seen where part of their costume is their side satchel bag and their stupid
Explorer.
pith helmet? Yeah,
Yeah.
Or
or their
you
fedora.
You get the random undergrad that shows up to your American Indian history class, showed up in full antiquarian
I remember this.
freaking
Okay.
garb.
Tell me
Oh
that.
God.
The best day I ever had was when I dressed up in full steampunk antiquarian gear and went to the Ancient Histories convention.
I remember
Oh.
you doing that, yeah.
The dirty looks were A+. But anyway, I digress.
That is a good point, though, because I show a picture that had, because like I remember that discussion you guys were having. I show a picture of that to my dad, and then of course he thinks, okay, explore in the jungle, type of thing. I show a picture of that to my mom, and she's just like, my great grandpa used to wear that when he was like out in the field farming and stuff like that, and it's just like, huh, you know?
Great hat. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It does what it's supposed to do. It's got a chin strap and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I understand why we took the hat. It's just
ours now.
I
I
can't have it anymore.
actually, so it's like bringing it back to me because it should always be about me.
It should. It should always be about you.
Like growing up, like when people talk about founding fathers, because of the way it's framed in education, especially in elementary school and stuff like that. When I thought of the phrase founding fathers, I thought of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, like that kind of thing. And so even as a child, when I'm like, my founding fathers are George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, it never really crossed my mind, that they weren't. I wouldn't have some sort of connection to them as my founding fathers, right? And I think that's sort of the interesting thing about the helmet is right. I think a lot of people, sort of colloquially, don't quite understand what that means, like the baggage with it, and I think that that creates both like a pitfall trap and an opportunity because just by the hat they don't feel left out. When they learn the history, they realize, oh, this is not for me. But I think right that role there, I think for a lot of people feel like they could possibly get into it, but they don't know how. Right? They don't. The path is not clear to them.
So I guess my next question is also again for Daryl. How are you going to bring this discussion back around into the D&D game and torture all of your players with all of these little tidbits? Seeing as Greg Randall is the only ethnically goblin character in the party, you're creating this cosmos of the D&D game with the way that
Look
you're.
at you, Sarah. Look at you.
It's
Spinning
almost
it
like
around.
I do this. It's
Okay.
almost like this is what I used to do.
So, wink, wink, hint, hint. All of you have actually already said or touched or your answers, your solutions to the problems, whatever. A solution to or a kind of approach that is satisfactory to you as a player and an archaeologist is already there. You have it actually already. Hint, hint, wink, wink. It's in your hands.
My sword.
So
The sword that talks about you behind your back now. That needs to be canon. I need the sword to say Snyder marks behind your back at all times.
They already don't like the voices I do sometimes, like the one for the ferret.
I had this thought during the game, and like I don't know if you guys could tell. There's this moment where it just like went over me, and I was like, "Oh, shit!" That I never once questioned how Grog died. Where he was by the sword, Grog died, and I took the sword, and he was clutching the sword, and we have no idea how he died. And now I'm thinking, am I next?
Have some kind of idea. His skull was cleanly cut open.
Maybe the sword became sentient and floated. Now I'm like, oh god.
Or maybe the sword is the key. Maybe Grog came into there to remove the curse from the objects by striking it with the sword. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the sword casts something. I don't know.
I have the power.
I love that show.
We've got to have some kind of solution here, and the issue that exists is normally we would be doing all of our research ahead of time, and we would be doing consultation, reaching out to dissident communities, but we don't have that in this instance. There's no dissident community of this culture that, at least that we're aware of, that we've
Keyword.
been able to find.
Well, have you looked?
I believe we
I'm-
did at one point.
I'm sure if you put Daryl to task, Daryl could come up with all of this stuff if you guys wanted to do it that way. But
How your
I
decision
say that,
chose
and I
Daryl.
appreciate the fact that you guys are playing your characters and not playing yourselves. Like that is the important thing to remember. But I mean, if we were ourselves in Daryl's world, I mean, we could do archaeology there. We could do it properly. We could do we could attempt to do CRM properly.
You need the funding.
I can't stop
You would
staring
be
at the
surprised.
cat.
I know she
It's-
is Grace.
She's really cute, just the head bobbing up and down like that. I really can't.
Giving herself a full once over, and so every now and then you'll see one leg go up. And thankfully, this pillow's in the way, so you really don't get actual cat butt on screen.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Ever since I described that swirl as a cat butt, you haven't been able to get out of your head,
Oh
Sarah.
my god.
I would show you why, but it would be true.
No, I know why. I'm a cat owner too. I know why. I don't really thought of it.
It's got a tabby ass, is all I gotta say. Is yes, exactly.
And this is, I know this is the thing. As a fellow DM, I know exactly what that face is. It's like, here I've created this entire world
But
and
you
this
haven't
beautiful
created
design,
enough.
and all the time that I spent drawing these keyholes, and then they turn around and call it a cat butt.
Now, that's true.
I do not deny.
But so this is a little bit of a DM thing, right? And the thing is the key has certain properties that I really, really wanted you to use, but you wouldn't use it because you're so scared of the dang key. You guys are so paranoid about everything in this
They
game.
really are. They really are. It's kind of funny. I'm not
Break
joking about the
that.
grave size.
This thing is, we use the key.
Well, no, but that's it. Like, there's a certain thing about the key, but you weren't using it. So I'm like, okay, you guys need a sign, like a neon sign telling you, use the dang key. So put the dang keyhole so that you use the dang key.
I like that you were prepared for this moment, though. You were like, my players will be so paranoid that if I don't create these two designs specifically to point to the damn keyhole, my players will not use
Heroes.
said key.
Oh my
So
god.
they did open the box, Jake, and it was, they found syrup.
We found sarcophagus juice, okay?
Dark, menacing syrup.
It's interesting. Do you know the actual Greek derivation of the word sarcophagus?
I think you
Syrup?
told us when we first were looting those graves in the necropolis.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It means flesh rotter.
Yeah,
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
yeah.
Kind of makes
And
you wonder
it's-
why they didn't have drainage holes.
It's also gone over before too, right? That the sword is kind of from a different culture, right? That I didn't just loot the sword, that Dagmar kind of is. Just disclaimer, hi, Dagmar kind of is the descendant community for the sword, right? That I didn't
Does
just
it-
loot it.
Does it make you as a player feel better to think that?
Have
or,
the sword, yeah, it's what keeps me
Because-
it keeps me sleeping at night.
I mean, unless you can prove descent from this group, it's
I will
still
boot you
looting.
from this.
I'm just saying, like,
Even if
I'm
it
not.
screws up the overlay.
I like
You gotta
how
Like-
D&D has like made Anna do like these despicable like acts of like or crimes against humanity.
D&D.
Yeah, yeah.
The point of D&D.
She like brutally murdered that one like highway robber just like with one blow, and now here she is like looting bodies. Oh.
And then trying to justify it as like some form of reclamation. I don't.
No, but it-
Dagmat.
Dagmat it.
Dagmat.
Dagmat it.
That's so good.
I'm
Aw.
excited.
All right, we got about officially 15 minutes. Do you, the players, because Daryl and I have talked a lot, Do you, the players, especially the two that haven't spoken, you're not the same here in my. Anyway, do you guys have anything else you want to say before we close out? Any thoughts archaeologically about the game and directions that the games have gone in? And man, Mike's being fancy over here with his like little liqueur glass.
The Glencairn is I've got my whiskey.
There you go. But yeah, final thoughts. Don't make me call people.
To say thanks to Daryl for just constantly throwing in stuff like the Shippo and Air Dr. McPickle and and the survey song and it does make it kind of and the temptations for us to like not loot, not dig, not destroy a
Keyhole.
building. It does make it challenging. As a player, trying not to cross ethical boundaries.
Knowing that you could if you wanted to, because it's just a game, but at the same time, which it does kind of tie back to like
it
the
makes
whole
it fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what the whole con's been about. It's like, yeah, we play these games where we're doing things we would never do in real life, but it's fun. Does it make us terrible people?
Maybe. No.
You still got like 14 minutes to fill here, people. Come on, let's go.
Well, I mean, like personally, like
No, you're not allowed to talk, Daryl. Just for the players.
This is for the player.
God has spoken.
I don't care.
Well, I really wish that what did you call it before? Like Oak Ridge
Yeah.
really had a Helga rock bottom that had a Shippo to go to and work through and whatnot, because it is kind of weird as an archaeologist playing in an all archaeologist game now, playing D&D, and like part of me wanting to be that typical murder hobo, loot kill kind of thing, and then part of me as an archaeologist going, you can't do that, that's icky.
Well, and I also think because Daryl's created such a very diverse and intricate world here that we're inclined to be more careful because we want to know more. We want to explore all of the stuff.
Yeah.
We're learning. He's really created like such a immersive and complex world with complex characters. Like seriously, we keep telling him you need to write a book about this.
Yeah.
And I think yes, we are very paranoid players, and I think it's not just because our real life gets in the way of that, but I also think we have such admiration for what Daryl does, how much effort that goes into creating this game.
I like
That
the people that somebody makes a fancy cake for, and then none of you eat the cake because the cake's too pretty.
No,
pretty much,
seriously.
yeah.
Or
You know,
even
it's a good
even like
analogy.
yeah, but even in addition to that too, like not only are we being respectful of our friend's beautiful world here, but we're also in a way kind of functioning as anthropologists too, in addition to our primary function as archaeologists, because we are a guest in that world. And I don't want to do another murder in it, I felt like
You don't want to do a murder of murder.
I don't want to murder another character named Murder because that was weird, but like but like I felt like I took something that my friend made and so gracefully let me interact with, and I just kind of accidentally killed her. That was
Well, it's interesting is I talked about the whole murder hobo thing, which is so. I mean, we've all played D&D before. We know that term.
We do.
Now we do.
But
Now I do.
it's just, if I can pour more praise upon Daryl, it's just such a wonderful indication of what a skilled DM Daryl is, that you could go that route if you wanted to, Dagmat. You could go and I'm sorry, I had to. You could go full murder hobo. You could kill murder by the side of the road, but then you find like the note from her. If I remember correctly, I think you found like
Her
a
mother?
note from her mom.
Yeah, like
That wasn't a real thing. That was a joke we were going, that you were gonna go to Oak Ridge and there's gonna be this old, like, bent hobgoblin woman, like, have you seen my daughter? Have you
I love
seen
it.
my daughter?
Anna now.
don't start
Yeah.
with me. That's totally in your plans. Every single
Yeah.
character you make.
But that's good because that's, I mean, there are, even for areas of justification like that. I mean, good, she was robbing us.
Mhm.
It was
They're
self-defense.
they're still real human beings,
Yeah.
and with their own hopes, their own dreams, their own families, what have you. And
And
I think that's a
That's
testament
very impressive.
to Daryl's world again, not just
Yeah.
for the world itself that he's created, but the characters within it that you've
Yeah.
created.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a fabulous writer to be able to create create NPCs that the PCs don't want to just slaughter on sight.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, that was his goal too. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, he's all like, "What can I do to make it so the stereotype of goblins just
Yeah.
being cannon fodder?"
Yeah, I like how this started with like goblins not just being pop tarts. All right, Daryl, I want to give you the last 8 minutes. Final thoughts for you for your game, and you've been running this for a year now.
I mean, I'm really touched. I'm very, very flattered. I'm eternally grateful that you appreciate it and that you've enjoyed it so much. That makes me very, very very happy. Um, like I said, I'm like the one non-archaeologist on this, and that I'm always sweating bullets because it's like I get ideas. Obviously, you know that I get ideas and that I take my notes, and I'm always sort of scared that, like, I'll do something and I'll do it wrong. But I've been able to fake it till I make it for a whole year so far. So, I'm just very happy that everyone's enjoyed it so far. That's good.
You've become an archaeologist in a year. You've read books, and then you've had to interact with this group.
This is not
Not-
easy.
You
I'm
are
not
one
gonna
now.
lie.
Dub. You.
Yep.
You know?
You
I
are.
would feel comfortable taking you out in the field. So
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, you've also been present for with so many of the activities and events for this con, and a lot of the discussions online that we've had, some of which are very serious. We've discussed things like repatriation and public perceptions of archaeology, and how we can make our discipline and make our field better. And you've contributed to that, Daryl, in a real and meaningful way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I second that. It's
Yeah.
and Daryl's also a prime
archaeologists
example
being
as
like it or
to
not.
Daryl's a prime example as to why I on the Discord is why I want non-archaeologists
Yeah.
and non-anthropologists on the board, because I feel not just Daryl, but Daryl because he's here. I feel like his contribution. Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
His contributions have been invaluable to us as archaeologists and as anthropologists. And I know there's a couple other people who are on the boards who are fairly active. Aww. who are equally as important to the development of I'm ignoring you of the Discord. So I don't know. I guess that's my final thought is even though I do value all of the archaeologists who come and spend time playing video games and looking at video games as an academic practice as well as fun, I also truly appreciate all of my non-archaeologists, non-anthropologists who take the time to come hang out with us and talk to us and ask us questions and come up with fun worlds
Teach
for us
us
to go.
things. Yeah.
I am ignoring him, and I'm ignoring you, Jake.
Oh.
I can read the chat.
Oh, I
Thank you.
see. I see.
we
I-
see you. We see you, Jake.
I've learned a lot from Daryl, and I feel like this party has gotten me through some pretty tough times too. And when I feel like I can't connect with people, I can look forward to Saturdays to connect with you guys and,
And
go
murder
to
people named Murder.
and murder people in a really cool world that I'd rather be in sometimes. So this campaign means everything to me, and I hope that we can have another awesome second year together, farting around in Daryl's beautiful world and absolutely fucking it up. Have I swore yet today?
There we go. All right. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Daryl, for running this. Thank you, everybody who has attended this 1.5 day, 2-day long con. I truly appreciate it. I guess we probably are going to do another year of this, assuming everybody wants to participate again. And I'm tired. I'm going to bed.
As you should. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you.